In the Journal of the American Society on Aging, Linda Barrington talks about the problem of ageism and bias in the American workplace. The author begins the article with a personal story in which she procured a job that was teaching retirement readiness to employees of a certain company. The brochure for the seminar suggested that the delaying of retirement was causing productivity issues within that company, within that organization, and it was also keeping them from promoting younger, more capable workers. Well, the Age Discrimination in Employment Act, or the ADEA, states that ageist behavior in the workplace is treating somebody less favorable because he or she is over 40 years old. Ms. Barrington cites several studies that show there's a clear bias in the American workforce in both age and gender. One study that she cited shows that employers are almost half as likely to call back a female candidate for a position if it appeared on her resume that she was younger. Another study that was cited by Ms. Barrington showed the assertiveness was a desirable trait in younger employees, but in older employees it was a less desirable trait. So you can see clearly here there's some ageist bias going on by these studies. The author states that not only are these biases morally wrong, but they are also inaccurate. One study of a call center showed that workers over 40 were slower in processing calls than younger workers. They didn't get through the calls as quickly. But when the same workers were measured not on speed of calls, but on number of reservations booked, the workers over 40 or over 50 booked more reservations than the younger workers, so therefore they were actually more productive. The problem that we have with ageism and bias in the American workforce is not going away. Ms. Barrington cites a study by von Schrader and Nazarov that age discrimination complaints have been steadily climbing since 2000, so for over the last 16, 17 years. According to our reading in Unit 1, there are several ethical issues with leaders discriminating on the basis of gender or age. In Chapter 1 of Ethics and Leadership, one ethical principle is the Golden Rule, or treating others as you would want to be treated. I happen to be over 40 myself, and therefore I'm in the protected age group. And although I have yet much to learn, and I have strengths and weaknesses just like everybody else, I would not want somebody to pass me over for a job that I was applying for, or for a promotion within my job simply because of my age. I would expect to be judged on my past accomplishments, my strengths, my skills, what I could bring to that organization, not on my age. So according to the Golden Rule, if I would not want to be discriminated against simply based on age, then I should not discriminate against others based on age as well. In Chapter 1, the author also states that treating people morally means that we acknowledge their value, their dignity, and their worth. That leads us to the question of, do people who are of different gender than us, or people who are older, do they have less value, dignity, or worth? No, they don't. So moral behavior in this situation would dictate that we don't treat them differently simply based on gender or age. I happen to be in human resources, and so I do a lot of interviewing and evaluating of employees. And through my HR training, I've learned that we all have unconscious biases. And when we're doing interviewing, when we're doing evaluations of employees, it's up to us as leaders to understand what those biases are, to be aware of them, and to teach others who are doing interviews and evaluations to be aware of their own unconscious biases as well, so that we can learn to treat everybody equally based on gender and age. In Chapter 3 of Ethics and Leadership, the author states that Aristotle equates virtues to habits, and habits are formed through practice and discipline. Aristotle also states that it's immoral for a leader to be incompetent. As a leader, if I was passing people over, competent people, over for promotions, or I was not hiring them simply because of age or gender, I would cease to be a very competent leader. As leaders, we have to get the best people in the best spots in order to accomplish as much as we can. And if I was skipping over people simply because of age and not because of skills or talents or accomplishments, then I would not be a very competent leader. We must practice and exercise discipline in the way that we treat the different genders and generations of employees. This will not only ensure that we are morally ethical leaders, but also effective leaders.